The first task undertaken by the Fabricator General and his Space Marine Chapter Master allies was the re-establishment of the Council of the High Lords of Terra. Massive trials were held in which the acts of those in office throughout the Reign of Blood were examined. Those found guilty of contributing to the anarchy were put to death, while those few found blameless were allowed to retain their offices. When finally some semblance of proper governance was restored, there still remained one office left to fill, that of the Ecclesiarch. None were found who were willing or able to fill the position that Vandire had so disastrously abused. The newly reconvened Senatorum Imperialis declared that Sebastian Thor should come to Terra immediately. Thor, however, was by this time far from the center of the Imperium's power, preaching across the worlds of the Northern Rim and restoring faith to those who had lost it. He turned down repeated requests to attend the council, until a messenger was sent to personally bring him before the High Lords. Still, Thor refused, stating that his work was not yet done. Exasperated and insulted, the High Lords finally declared Thor a traitor and dispatched an army to bring him forcibly before them. A multitude stood ready to defend their adored leader, but Thor himself acquiesced, entrusting his safety to the will of the Emperor. When finally Thor stood before the High Lord, a great trial was convened. Thousands came to witness the proceedings, undertaking arduous pilgrimages from every corner of the galaxy. The trial lasted months, and many who wished to witness it only arrived years after it had ended. Yet still they came out of adoration for Sebastian Thor. Countless charges were put to Thor, yet every one was refuted. Always had he preached against corruption and injustice, and he had never once ordered his followers to take up arms against the warriors of the Imperium. Many thousands of witnesses spoke in Thor's defense, from the very highest officers of the Imperial Guard and the Imperial Navy to the lowliest soldier and scribes. Eventually, the High Lords retreated into sealed council to consider their verdict. That verdict was delivered 3 days later by the Captain General of the Adeptus Custodes. It is said that when Sebastian Thor was proclaimed innocent of every charge brought against him, every bell in every spire on Terra rang out, and the multitude sang his praise at the top of their lungs. Yet the High Lords had a further proclamation to make. Sebastian Thor was proclaimed Ecclesiarch, to the resounding joy of the faithful that packed the streets. So dire was the need of the Imperium in the aftermath of the calamitous Reign of Blood that only a man as pure, innocent, and as driven as Thor could unite its disparate people. Yet Thor refused, stating that the work on which he was engaged could not be enacted from a throne in the ecclesiarchal palace, but could only be undertaken out amongst the needy of the galaxy. The High Lords erupted in outrage and indignation, yet the Captain General of the Adeptus Custodes took Thor aside and whispered a single message into his ear. Though no others heard what passed between the two men, it is commonly held that Thor was given a blunt choice: leave Terra as Ecclesiarch, or leave Terra dead. To the adulation of the adoring masses, Thor announced that he would accept the appointment, but only on certain conditions. He was to have the unswerving backing of the High Lords of Terra, and he was to be allowed to make whatever changes to the Holy Synod he saw fit. The High Lords agreed to his terms, and Sebastian Thor was duly appointed the 292nd Ecclesiarch.